Hello friends, welcome to Knowledge House. Right now we'll be looking into today's The Hindu newspaper, that is of date 11th of August 2018. So as usual we'll be looking only into articles that are important from a UPSC civil service exam perspective. So I welcome you all to this video. Let's start. The first article is regarding the AG, that is Attorney General. So AG lashed out at riots and intolerance. Uh, that's what the article says. So in an uncharacteristic public criticism of growing violence, intolerance, and rioting in the country, Attorney General K.K. Venugopal told the Supreme Court on Friday that there was an incident of major rioting every week in the country. So this was the Marathas and even the educated groups like Marathas in Maharashtra and various other groups are always get involved in such things. So what is to be done? Asked Chief Justice of India. So the fix in reply, Attorney General said that fix the responsibility on someone. That is, once the responsibility is fixed on the SP of a district, that is Superintendent of Police of each district, the scenario will change. The courts can hold him up, ask him to show the videos of the incident, ask him how many FIRs have been filed. That's what the crux of his reply. And you cannot touch a third party property. For that matter, you cannot burn your own house. These happenings must stop. That's what Chief Justice observed. That's all important about this article. So let's move on to the next one. And I mentioned this article because this whole incident of lynching and various kinds of intolerance can come under the society part in GS1 syllabus, and also in the GS2 syllabus it can what all steps has been taken by the government, or what all steps can be taken by the government. There's such a question can come in GS2. So that's all important about this article. So moving on to the next one, it is regarding Rajiv's case convict. That is, Rajiv Gandhi murder case convicts can't be freed. That's what the Supreme Court has said. So the Supreme Court on Friday accepted on record a communication from the centre rejecting the Tamil Nadu government's proposal to release 7 convicts undergoing the life imprisonment in Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. And Supreme Court observed that assassination was an act unparalleled in the annals of crime in the country, and the centre has told the Tamil Nadu government. So the brutal act brought the Indian democratic process to a grinding halt, in as much as the general elections to the Lok Sabha and Assembly elections in some states has had to be postponed. And it said that the CBI, which was investigating the case, was also opposed to releasing the convicts of interest in the interest of justice. And the center said 16 innocent lives were lost and many suffered grievous injuries in the gruesome, inhuman, uncivilized, and merciless act. So please take care of these languages. The assassination and the use of a woman as a human bomb showed the exceptional depravity. So that's again the comment from the Supreme Court. Anyway, let's move on to the next article. So I mentioned this because it has been almost 25 years that these convicts have been spending in jail, and they were convicted for life imprisonment. And definitely a question can come. There is a question can be made up. Like, even if someone has been sentenced to life imprisonment, it has been 25 years. Considering this time period, there is a it can be said that there is a logic behind the argument of Tamil Nadu government, that is to free them, set them free. And what all things can be taken from this, or what all questions can become. You definitely can imagine what all things can come up in a question like this. So that's all about this article. Moving on to the next one. Next, it is regarding the Khangchendzonga Biosphere Reserve enters the UNESCO list. So Khangchendzonga Biosphere list, that is Biosphere Reserve of Sikkim. Please note, it is in Sikkim state. The highest biosphere reserve in the country, that includes the third highest mountain peak in the world, that is Khangchendzonga, has been included in the UNESCO World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So the last biosphere reserve to be included was Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve in Kerala in 2016, and the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve was the first reserve from the country to be included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. India has 18 biosphere reserves, out of which 11 has been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. That's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. 2 MPs bring private bill against the lynching. So private bill is something that is introduced by any member of the parliament who is not a part of the ministry, that is who is not a member of the Council of Ministers, and who is also not a part of the government. That is, he is not an MP from the ruling party. So if someone from the opposition introduces a bill, such a bill is called a private bill. So the We are anxious to share the provisions of the bill. That's what a senior member of the opposition political party has said. And if the public consciousness is raised to what can go into anti-lynching bill, then our feeling is that the government will have no choice but to take these provisions into account. So a special law was needed to deal with lynching through though most of the crimes were covered by the Indian Penal Code. That's what another MP from the same party has said. Lynching is a crime without motive. It is not a private dispute between two parties. In fact, the victims are unknown. The object of this crime is to strike terror in the society. So that's all important about this article. Anyway, please look into what exactly is a private bill, and also what all things can be included in a lynching bill. If there is any model law that we can follow, definitely such questions can come in GS1, and definitely what all things can be included. So the same question can also be asked in a different dimension in GS2 also. That's all important about this article. Moving on to the next one, it is regarding the NRC again. So for the 4 million, another chance to make it to the NRC. So nearly 40 lakh people, as we know, has been left out of the draft of the final draft of NRC that was released on 30th of July because of the lack of sufficient documentary evidence of their citizenship. That's what officials has disclosed. So now they can reapply through the claims form, while those whose names have been misspelled can use the correction form. The objection form is for those who suspect that nationality of a person. That is, objection form is for those who suspect the nationality of a person and feel he or she does not deserve to be on the final error-free NRC. So that's all important about this particular article. Anyway, the questions can be the definition of citizenship definitely comes into being, and is it right to that deny citizenship based on there has been a lot of allegations that NRC is not a clean process. There was no Supreme Court oversight on this, even though it was a Supreme Court ordered process. So, and also various things like there are several episodes where the father of a family, that is the family head, has been included and their dependents were not included. So definitely questions come, definitely raises a lot of questions. And also regarding the mains exam, what I like to say is that it can come under the society part, it can also come into the polity part, because a lot of things are involved here. And also it can also this question can also come from a internal security related dimension. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one, Pakistan hopes to host the SAARC summit, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Obviously you all must be aware of that. So Pakistan is likely to boost its role in SAARC under Imran Khan government that will assume the charge soon. An indication of this came at the first meeting between the newly elected leader of Pakistan and the Indian High Commissioner Ajay Bisaria on Friday. So that's all. Anyway, let's see. Things are going to evolve. I just showed this news just to remind the importance of SAARC, and definitely the importance of Pakistan in that role. And also is SAARC relevant regarding the trade, regarding the internal relationship between the countries in this block. So that's all important about this particular article. Going on to the next one, US cuts training for Pak's military. So President Donald Trump administration has quietly started cutting the scores of Pakistani officers from the coveted training and educational programs that have been a hallmark of bilateral military relations more than a decade. So now on, the simple explanation for this is, or the simple in the simplest words possible, what I can say is now on, Pakistan army officials cannot train in will not get trained in the academies in the US. So the effective suspension of Pakistan from the US government International Military Education Training Program, that is IMET. This is a program conducted by the Pentagon. So this will be closed off for officials from Pakistan. So the place will either be unfulfilled or given to officers from other countries. So usually the US military has a tradition to shield such educational programs from political tensions, arguing that the ties built by bringing foreign military officers to the US pay long-term dividends. So please note that. And of course, this will have this or this particular move by the US can take another dimension, because that may bring, or that may push Pakistan much more closer to China or Russia. And also recently, please note that the Russian officials or the army officials from Pakistan will be, an agreement has been reached between Pakistan and Russia regarding training of the Pakistani military officials in Russia. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. Trump doubles steel and aluminium tariff on Turkey. So in a tweet, Donald Trump declared that I have just authorized a doubling of tariff on steel and aluminium with respect to Turkey as their currency, Turkish lira, slides rapidly downward against our very strong dollar. That's what Mr. Trump said on Twitter. Our relations with the Turkey are not good at this time. So, however, White House has clarified that Mr. Trump's announcement authorized the preparation of documents to raise the tariff. This means that it will likely take some time to implement. So, Washington imposed a metal tariff on national security grounds, claiming that the glut of steel and aluminium harmed the US companies and the economy. It is unclear how that would justify higher tariff on the Turkey, but not other countries. So, definitely, the trade war has taken a different dimension. Now it involves another country also, that is Turkey. So that's all about this particular article. Moving on to the next one, it is regarding the immigration regime in the United Kingdom. So pressure for the UK to further shake up the immigration policies grew as the Confederation of British Industries published a report calling for new approach. So the Confederation of British Industries. So it is a counterpart of our CII. So it has asked the government to scrap the immigration targets, leave Britain open enough to grow the economy and enable the business to access talent at all skill levels. It also suggested that trade levels with countries such as India and Australia would be easier to forge if the Britain reviewed its approach to visas and brought immigration policy to trade discussion table. So India has repeatedly raised concerns about the Britain's unwillingness to ease visa restrictions for professionals, students, and others. In particular, Britain's decision to exclude India from the relaxation of visa norms for students provoked criticism from India, further tensioning the bilateral relationship. Anyway, let's look into how things are going to evolve. So definitely, immigration is a matter of international importance. So definitely a question can come in GS2, which involves international relations and other issues. So that's all important about this particular article. Moving on to the next one, it is regarding the IIP, that is Industrial Index Product. So it has surged to a 5-month high of 7%. Growth in the industrial activity picked up a 5-month high of 7% in June, driven by across the board acceleration in the growth rates, including sectors such as manufacturing, electricity, infrastructure, consumer goods, and that is according to that's the official data said. So this is a pickup investment demand overall. That's what chief policy advisor at a private company has said. This is partly driven by an increase in the government expenditure. The stimulus by the government on the current and the capital slides pick up in the private investment has led to the industrial growth. This is shown by a pickup in other indicators as well, such as credit, data, and exports. So consumer non-durables, however, grew only 0.47% in June, although this reversed the contraction of 2.6% witnessed in the previous month. The encouraging news is the jump in the production of capital goods and infrastructure and the construction goods. That's what another industrial expert has said. Even on a low base of last year, this could be reflection of the positive investment trend in sectors such as roads, railways, and housing. That's all important about this particular article. Anyway, before ending up today's analysis, I'll be giving you more news on the IIP. So that's all about this article. Moving on to the next one, India to triple the ethanol production by 2022, aims to reduce the oil import bill by 12,000 crore. That's what Prime Minister has said. So India will triple its ethanol production over the next 4 years till 2022 and will save 12,000 crore in the country's oil import bill. That's what Prime Minister has said. And the government will achieve 10% ethanol blending in petrol by 2022 and is aiming to double it to 20%. However, the government's biofuel policy has come under criticism, with a standing committee member of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas saying that the policy itself needs severe revising. So India needs to adopt a holistic approach to meet the consistent targets of ethanol blending. With this, government has been maintaining at abysmal levels, that is 2% currently as per the policy document. That's what that member has said. Anyway, moving on to the next one, that is we have finished analyzing today's newspaper. So as I promised before, the additional information regarding the IIP. So this is compiled by Central Statistical Office and it is published every month. So the revised IIP, that is base year for IIP, is 2011-12, and also it aligns with the base year of various other manufacturer, that is macroeconomic indicators like WPA and GDP. And in IIP, the decreasing order of 8 core industries, that is refinery products has the highest weightage and fertilizers has the lowest weightage. So, and the weightage of 3 sectors are like this, that is manufacturing has the highest weightage, mining and electricity follows. So that's all important about the IIP. And moving on to the next one, it is regarding the biofuel policy and what the likely benefits are mentioned here. That is, once we introduce or more kind of ethanol blending is done in our fuels, definitely we can reduce the oil import. That is, definitely we can reduce the import dependency. So, and also it will ensure cleaner environment. So that is, the use of ethanol will reduce the CO2 emissions. It will also reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by reducing the crop burning and conversion. And definitely there will be health benefits because prolonged use of cooking oil for preparing food, particularly in deep frying, causes health hazard and can lead to many diseases. Now let's come into another part, that is municipal waste management. So definitely 2G biofuels, that is second generation biofuels, involve municipal solid waste. So definitely ethanol blending of can go a long way in in managing the municipal solid waste. And coming on to the another part is that the use of much biofuels, that is more kind of ethanol blending, can definitely introduce more infrastructural investment in rural areas, and also it can generate a lot of employment, and also it will bring in additional income to farmers. So as far as the aim to double the income of farmer is concerned, definitely diversifying their sources of income is important. So this can go a long way in ensuring that also. So that's all about today's newspaper and the further analysis. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and do share it with your friends. And you can follow us on Telegram. You can definitely log on to our blog, that is www.knowledgehouse.co, and you can download various kinds of documents from that, and we used to upload various kinds of analysis in that particular blog. And we'll be coming up with more interesting and compelling videos, so please do subscribe our channel so that you won't miss any updates from us. So thank you very much for watching once again. Have a nice day.